'Twas September 1st the night Vicky Varner was reported missing. She had told her husband Victor Varner she was going for a silly meeting, but hadn't returned. 8 days later, Vicky's car was found abandoned near Lake Melvin. There was still no trace of Vicky until 5 days later, a troubled employee of Lake Melvin Lodge and Resort called the police about a dead body laying inside a dumpster. To our dismay, it was Vicky Varner. After a crime scene investigation, it was evident that foul play was involved, and this was a murder case. A gunshot wound and an injury to the head helped us conclude our hypothesis. A broken window at the lodge that was half open pointed to a crazy night. Castrotown seemed to be a small, peaceful town in the redundant hills of Montana. This town seemed to be one that came from the movies. Everyone knew everyone, and the crime rates were so low that the word itself was almost non-existent. Castrotown had just gotten through one of its most liveliest elections the town had ever seen. Incumbent Mayor Natalie Nava against Vicky Varner. Since I was a new detective for the Montana Police Department, I was thrilled when I was assigned this case. I quickly realized if I wanted to progress, I had to tap into Vicky's personal lives and figure out if anyone had any motives. Since Vicky has just beaten Nava Yazdan in the elections, she quickly became our lead. The death of the mayor left a confused community pointing fingers at each other. After further investigation, it was evident that Vicky Varner wasn't so beloved. She was working on building an industrial park around Lake Melvin, and many citizens who owned family businesses near Lake Melvin Lodge would lose everything had Vicky's work gone through. Not long after DNA results were in, and it was discovered that the DNA of Natalie Nava, Yaz Young, Penny Pullen, Victor Varner, and Anita Angus were all found in some part of the crime scene. These were our top suspects. After the maggot research, we discovered that Vicky had died the day her car was found, so we decided to interview our suspects. Are you King Kingsbury?
Yes.
How would you describe your relationship with your cousin Vicky?
We had a healthy relationship until recently.
What happened recently?
We were on our way to the nearest cent store and was complaining about the Victor drama, and she wouldn't take my advice.
How did you feel towards Victor?
He could be a better man to my cousin.
Where were you the night Monday, September 9th?
Oh, hell no! Don't try to pin me with this murder. You're wasting your time interviewing me instead of trying to find the actual murder. I was at work having a meeting with one of my clients. I was clocked. You can check. Kingsbury was telling the truth. Her job confirmed she was at her workplace when the crime took place. Kingsbury was close with Vicky Varner, which made sense to find her prints on Vicky's car and Vicky.
How do you feel towards Vicky Varner?
I hate the
Oh, so you hate her. Care to go into detail?
If you insist. I was dating her husband years ago when I walked into them on his desk naked.
I should have thought twice before I asked you for detail. Where were you on the night of Monday, September 9th?
Oh, I was with my new boo thing, Yaz Young at Delfino's. He knows a little bit about anatomy, if you know what I mean. This rather disturbing discovery allowed us to eliminate Penny Pullen and her boo thing, Yaz Young. Due to surveillance footage found from Delfino's, we were able to take them off our list of suspects.
How would you describe your relationship with Vicky Varner?
Before mayor, after mayor.
I take it your relationship wasn't the best.
It was until she was mayor. I absolutely loved her with all my heart, and the power went to her head.
Where were you Monday, September 9th?
I was at home playing Xbox.
Sure.
With his unconfirmed alibi, Victor Varner remained on our suspect list.
How was your relationship with Vicky Varner like?
We grew up together our whole lives.
Were you mad when you found out about the Blake reforms that would ruin your business?
At first, until I contacted Vicky and asked her about it, Vicky said that she would find another place for me to run my business and would make sure all ended up okay.
That's nice of her. Where were you the night of Monday, September 9th?
I was watching a movie with my husband and went to get some ice cream at the ice cream shop next to Delfino's.
Apparently, you were in debt with the Varner family. How did you repay them?
I am. I was repaying them by teaching Victor how to sail and shoot a gun. Just the other day, before Vicky was found, he was driving me out to the dock where I kept my boat and we got a flat tire. Victor said Vicky kept the tire iron in the back of the car to change the flats. We got the tire iron and changed the tire.
Despite her unconfirmed alibi, due to the fact that the ice cream store didn't have any surveillance video, upon further review of the Delfino's restaurant surveillance footage, you could see Angus walking into the ice cream store. This testimony also explains why Angus's prints were found on the iron and the vehicle.
Describe your relationship with Vicky Varner.
Well, we had known each other before the election, but during the election we didn't always agree on everything.
You do know that your blood and prints were found in the room, along with your younger brother's blood as well.
We had booked a room for an animal rights activist convention. It was pretty hot that night, and my brother's prone to getting bloody noses in the heat, so obviously Murphy's Law was in full effect that night, and he got one. I ran to the bathroom to try and get him some tissues, but I bumped a glass on the counter and stepped on it on my way back and cut my foot. It was pretty unfortunate.
Where were you the night of the murder?
I was on a run with my dog.
So you're a registered gun owner.
Yes, but my gun has been in the shop for months getting fixed. With this new evidence, her unconfirmed alibi allowed for her being crossed off the list. The only person left on the suspect list was Victor Varner. Victor was arrested for murdering his wife, Vicky Varner. Soon after, he was brought to court.
Are you Victor Varner?
Yes.
You're under arrest for the murder of Vicky Varner.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
All parties have been sworn in, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court case 404, the murder of Vicky Varner, is now in session.
The people call Kay Kingsbury to the stand.
Please state your first and last name.
Kay Kingsbury,
Can you spell your first name for the last name for the record, please?
Kingsbury.
Thank you.
What do you know about Vicky and Victor's relationship?
They were great until she ran for mayor. They always started arguing over the littlest of things. Vicky would always call me crying because of him.
For what reasons?
She thought he was having an affair again.
Again?
When they first got married, he had an affair with some woman he worked with. Vicky didn't leave him for reasons I still don't know. He was quite abusive to her, and oftentimes she hid bruises Victor had given her.
That is all. The people call Anita Angus to the stand. The people call Anita Angus to the stand.
State your first and last name for the record.
Anita Angus.
Okay. Can you spell your last name for me, please, for the record?
Angus.
Thank you.
Is it true Victor came into your store a few days before the murder?
Yes.
Is it true that upon him leaving, one of the guns were missing?
Yeah, my Kimber solo carry was missing.
Do you remember what bullets were in the gun?
No, I do not.
Oh really? Because the police examined the bullet wound and came up with a list of possible guns and bullets fired at the victim. If I showed you a list of possible bullets, would you be able to tell me what bullets were in the gun?
Yes. I don't carry any federal bullets in my shop, so it's not the larger IC9 or the Beretta Nano. Plus, I've never had the chance to carry a Taurus PT709 in my shop. Now that I think about it, the gun was full with the new shipment of Natty bullets I have gotten. It makes the most sense because when you calculate the momentum using the mass and the velocity, the mass is 0.007452 kilograms and the velocity is 322 miles per second, which makes the momentum 2.4 kilogram mass per second.
So you're saying the Kimber solo carry is the murder weapon?
Yes.
And it was full of Hornady bullets?
Yes.
That is all. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the murder weapon was a Kimber solo carry. This weapon had gone missing from the store the day Victor Varner stopped by Anita Angus' store. People call Penny Pullen to the stand.
Please state your name for the record. Penny Pullen. Can you spell your last name for me, please? Pullen.
Were you aware that your DNA evidence was found in Vicky Varner's car?
I was not.
Do you have any idea what it was doing in her car in the first place?
Nope.
You are aware that you're under oath, madam.
You calling me a liar?
Well, I ain't calling you a truther. Why was your DNA in her car?
Well, I might have gone to the movies with Mr. Varner that week.
Might?
Alright, I slept with that husband. Only because he was mine in the first place. He was mine.
What about your boo thing ass young?
He might know a thing or two about anatomy, but Victor knows how to pack a punch, if you know what I mean.
That is all. The court now calls upon Victor Varner.
Can you say your name for the record?
Victor Varner.
Can you spell your last name for the record?
Varner.
Is it true that you were having an affair with Penny Pullen?
Yes, we were having an affair.
Why?
Because Vicky was a disappointment. Our whole marriage was horrible. She couldn't handle what I had to offer.
Were you abusing your wife?
Well, I wouldn't say abuse.
So is that a yes?
I suppose.
Were you abusing Penny Pullen?
No.
Why are you abusing your wife and not Pullen?
Because I loved her. I loved Penny, and I always will. I only married Vicky because she showed financial support.
Did you murder your wife?
No.
Upon Sarah Melvin.
Can you say your name for the record?
Sarah Melvin.
Spell your last name, please.
MEVLIN.
Okay.
Miss Melvin, where do you work?
I work at Lake Melvin Resort.
Were you working on the night Victor brought his wife to the resort?
Yes, I was the one who gave him the room key.
Did he have Vicky with him?
When he first came in, no. He said his wife had a cold and she drank some medicine and it caused her to fall asleep. So I gave him the key. And then he went out of the resort, came back in, carrying Vicky Varner in his arms and carried her to his room.
Did you see any blood on the victim?
I couldn't. He was carrying her so that his hand was behind her head and he pressed her head towards his chest so I couldn't see anything. I didn't think anything of it.
That is all. The people now sign upon Victor Varner. Now, did you kill your wife?
Yes, I killed the.
How did you kill her?
I stole Angus's gun from her when she was teaching me how to shoot, then tampered with my wife's car before she left. I followed her, and when her car stopped working, I approached her, hit her with the tire iron, and took her to Lake Melvin Resort. I carried her inside the room when she became conscious, then started struggling with her. I held the gun to her. I turned away for 1 second to lock the door. By the time she already had opened the room window halfway, I turned around and shot her. The momentum of the bullet hit her, causing her to crash through the window, then fell down the second story, hitting her head on the dumpster and landing in it. Then I left.
Victor Varner was sent to life in prison due to the murder of his wife, Vicky Varner.
Well, this concludes our rather tainted love. A woman dead, an admitted killer, an affair. You've been watching 2020.